Will Floyd Lawton and the rest of the former Task Force X be willing to risk it all if it means freedom from Ted Kord's machinations? Well, let's hop into the pages of Suicide Squad issue number 9 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we check on in with Thessaline and Chaos Kitten. They're in Washington, D.C. right now, kidnapping themselves a corrupt senator. They do this through a combination of ultra-violent stealth and wearing slick-as-hell suits. You know what the difference between you and me is, right? I make this shit look good. Turns out this senator has taken a fair amount of money from Kord Industries, and before Ted went missing, the last call he made was to this guy. Finn the Atlantean will be running the interrogation. Something he is more than happy to do, as on top of everything else, this slimeball senator also signed a bunch of legislation that allowed big companies to pollute the ocean. Which means even after they get the information they were looking for, they decide to let this guy hang out with the cast of The Little Mermaid just a little bit longer. Now back over with the rest of the team, Harley Quinn and Deadshot are actually getting a little nostalgic right now. They feel one way or another this is going to be their very last mission. And despite how radically different they are as people through their many incarnations of the Suicide Squad, they have actually come a lot closer and come to understand each other much more than they ever thought they did, not counting in the New 52 when they actively hooked up, but let's all forget about that. Keeping on with his great characterization from a few issues back, Floyd is greatly worried about the fate of his daughter. She's taking after him now and even starting to shoot small animals just to show what a good shot she is. Floyd feels like a bad parent, feels like he's a hypocrite, and says that he doesn't want his daughter following in his footsteps. After all, you can't do what he does without feeling horrible about yourself every day, and he doesn't want his daughter to carry those scars. His daughter actually gets off a pretty great little nugget of wisdom here, saying that for a guy who hits targets for a living, Floyd really hasn't ever set any new targets for himself. And that if killing makes him feel so bad, he could always just stop. He could stop today, in fact, and you know what? That's what Deadshot is gonna do. Granted, Maim Shot doesn't have the same ring to it, does it? The squad thinks they finally managed to zero in on where Kord is hiding. He's setting up a brand new capital of the nation that he's moved heaven and earth to try and steal, all in an attempt to get that good oil money. The place is heavily guarded, and if they were to come in by water, they'd be sunk, and if they were to come in by air, they'd be shot down. Luckily, they have a makeshift submarine in the form of Zebra Man, who can create a shield to lock in all the air they need. Now, everyone on this new version of the Suicide Squad has their own reason for wanting revenge against Ted Kord. It's all deeply personal now in a way that it often isn't for other Task Force X stories, so you can imagine how deflated they all feel that by the time they actually break into Kord's office, Superman has already taken him captive. Soup says that it's all over now and that they can go home and leave this situation as it is. Asita isn't having any of this, though. She positively tears into the Man of Steel, saying that the Justice League aren't the heroes they think they are. They're only the guardians of the status quo, and that one way or another, Ted Kord will get off. And that he and his ilk will continue to poison the planet, rob people blind, and get other people killed just because they can. And where's the Justice League when any of that goes down? The only difference between the League and the Suicide Squad is the Suicide Squad knows the powers that be have made them puppets on a string. It's the Aerie who actually ends up being the voice of reason in this situation, saying that it may not have been the victory any of them wanted, but their country is finally safe now and they can all go home. And indeed, that's enough for most of the squad to leave and continue their quest to find the missing TNT. But Floyd, though, he interestingly enough stays behind. He's looking to have himself a heart-to-heart with Superman about his daughter. Superman even eventually congratulates Floyd for serving his time and finally getting released, and that, you know, for all the bad stuff the Suicide Squad has done, he'd be lying if he said they didn't do some good occasionally too. Before Deadshot leaves, though, he wonders if his daughter Zoe can get an autograph from the Man of Steel. Superman obliges, knowing that Kord kept some pens in his desk, but it's right around here everything starts to fall into place. Now, legitimately, I don't want to spoil what happens next for those of you out there who haven't read it, because it's genuinely genius, genuinely amazing, and so frickin' cool, so I'm going to give you a chance to skip ahead to the end now. Okay, you've been warned, good. So, Superman signs the autograph to Zoe. The only problem is he would have no way of knowing what Deadshot's daughter's name was. And that would be because that's not Superman at all. That's Black Mask using his brand new camouflage technology that he picked up during Tom Taylor's Year of the Villain story. I know, right? Nothing that happened in those Year of the Villain stories actually ended up up being important or actually coming back in any meaningful way, but here they do, and it's actually the big twist of this story. As the comic winds down, Black Mask shoots Deadshot in the head and leaves him tumbling out the open window. And so that was Suicide Squad issue number 9, everybody, and I have to wonder, after they made such a big deal of openly calling this the death of Deadshot, is that death literal or metaphorical? I mean, yes, indeed, we saw him take a bullet to the head and fall out a window, but this is superhero comics and people come back from stuff like that all the time. It would certainly be expertly tragic to have Floyd finally get his family back, start getting his life in order, decide he doesn't want to kill anymore only for him to die himself. But I guess we'll just have to read the next issue to find out where that goes. Outside of that, I still incredibly enjoy what Tom Taylor is laying down here. Having Osita read Superman, the Riot Act, was pretty sweet. It totally feels like something from the Ostrander era of the books where you can do a lot of socio-political commentary within the pages of a crazy superhero story. Redondo really knows how to draw these big moments and is quickly becoming one of my favorite artists working in comics these days. Quite frankly, Suicide Squad remains just maybe one of the best team books on the shelf right now, and I cannot believe that this run is going to be ending so much sooner than I thought it would be. Overall, I'd give this one another great 9 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.